Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I hope your weekend is off to a great start and you're all enjoying a nice Friday evening so far. I am smoking some Haunted Bookshop in the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition here. And let's see who we've got gathered so far. There's my buddy Steve Russell. Good to see you, Steve. Tony R2390. How's it going, Tony? Tony, are you the same Tony that I used to know by a different number? I think you are based on your little avatar there, but just checking. Jeffrey Feinberg. Good to see you, Jeffrey. Pipes of Old. Big Dave. Armchair Piper. How's it going, Ed? And there's Todd Munson. Good to see so many folks gathered already. And as I said, I hope you're happy it's Friday, because I'm very happy it's Friday. Just been busy. Okay, Tony. Well, it's good to see you, buddy. Robert Miller and Rich B1. How are you guys doing tonight? Robert Miller's got a Padron 2000 Maduro. Nice. Yeah, Big Dave, the furnace really did turn on. Just as I was getting ready here. The furnace is also my water heater, so it runs to heat the hot water. Or to heat the cold water to make it hot. Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Little Piper Todd. Good to see you guys. There's Poem. Hubba Bubba indeed. Great to see all you folks rolling in. Yeah, we've just, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but we got a major project that's about to start. We have to get all of our sidewalks replaced. We've got a corner property, and the entire sidewalk, driveway, walkway up to the front door, everything's getting replaced. Which is going to cost a small fortune, but beyond that, it's just a major undertaking because of all the different things we got to coordinate. I don't want to bore you with it, but today we had a tree surgeon around because one of the trees is close to the sidewalk, and there's concern that the roots are lifting it and stuff. So I had to talk to him. We had some work done on the sump pump that I might tell you a little bit about. It's just been good fun. So there you have it. Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy. Hello, folks. Good to see you tonight. And Flynn Hill Briar. Ha ho. Yeah, so we had the tree guy come at 8 o'clock this morning. It was raining, and we're standing out there in the rain talking about trees. That was fun. Real nice guy, though. I really like this guy. I trust him with the trees. He's done well by us. 107 degrees Fahrenheit in southern Arizona. My goodness, Big Dave. No, Rich, they are not splitting anything. In fact, one of the contractors that we had look at it said that there's a handicap access point at the corner, and he said that borough is responsible for that, and I won't do it. And we contacted the borough, and they said, you're going to have to find a different contractor because we're not responsible for that. They do nothing. Tony just finished some Haunted Bookshop in the Matches Pipe and had a Denobile cigar. Very nice, Tony. And there's Codger Jim. How you doing, Jim? And Smarty Bob, did I catch you earlier? If not, hello. Good to see you. It was a beautiful day, Armchair Piper, except for the rain this morning, but that ended pretty quickly. Bona Piper, how's it going, Christian? Yeah, so we've been dealing with that stuff. Work's been interesting. I had a funny thing happen at work today. Maybe I'll tell you about that later. It's one of those, the problem with the world. The problem with the world is it's full of people. It's one of those kind of stories. And if you're real good, I've got a joke. Michael Case in the shed with Red Virginia and his Rock Cherry Churchwort. Very nice, Michael. Hope you haven't been sent to the shed because of your transgressions. Flint Hill. I know the feeling. I've had hernia surgery a little over a year ago, I guess. And yeah, Sorry to hear that, buddy, but I'm glad you joined us in spite of that. I'd miss the rain. I guess there's some good things in not being a morning person, huh? Get the rim shot ready. Believe me, if I do tell this joke, I think you're gonna want the Rotten Tomatoes ready. My favorite jokes are ones that make the listeners groan, because that just makes me laugh. Who the heck wants to tell a joke for other people's entertainment? Gin and tonic, by the way. Jeffrey Feinberg wants to know what everybody's smoking. He's got Peter Stokeby 52, a nice English, and a Stanwell Bulldog. Yeah, Flint Hill, might be fun if you're drugged up, right? Not that you're not fun now. I'm just saying you might be more fun. Tim Fournier, how you doing, Tim? Good to see you. I know quite a few people that have been getting hernia surgeries lately. I guess that's a sign of age when all your friends start getting hernia surgeries. I think there's a couple of clear signs of age. One is when you start to realize that there's a lot of stupid people in the world. That's Tim was a bubble yum guy. Tim, I'm surprised you didn't go for the gum that squirted. Can't remember what that was called. Ah, Rich B1 had some Fusilier ration cob earlier. That sounds nice. And Armchair Piper's got Carolina Red Flake in his new Sassini 4 dot. So Armchair Piper's part of the 4 dot club now. Tim says, I got mine after surgery. I assume you're referring to a hernia, Tim? Or you got old after surgery? Or maybe you got the bubble gum after surgery. I don't know. Beowulf and Miss Kathy got Sutliff Match 20 and a no-name billiard. Nice. Tidal wave, says Rich B1. I don't know what that means, Rich B1. Tim's IQ hurts every day. Well, welcome, Ed. Pegasus in a 6-7 touch with you, and then I remember on Monday. So I'm a bad correspondent, but if you don't know that by now about me, I think everybody knows that about me. Oh, Tidal Wave was the goose, the gum that had the liquid center. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. The one was, I remember it was like a classroom where the commercial was a classroom and one of the kids yells out, wow, and the teacher says, what's going on? And he says, I didn't know the gum was loaded. And then they all sing about, I didn't know the gum was loaded. Probably would be a terrible commercial today in parents' opinion, but we liked it. I can't remember what the name of the gum was, though. And then there was one that was, I think, called Freshen Up that had a liquid center that kind of tasted like Scope. Not very good. Steve Russell's got Flying Dutchman and a Stanwell horn. Yeah, Signal Man Tony from Rhode Island, Freshen Up had the Liquid Center. That's one of the ones I was thinking of, but there was another one that I didn't know the gum was loaded commercial. Ed, I would love to do that. It's just been crazy lately, my friend. But yes, we do need to get together for a smoke. And I don't know when it's going to happen at this point because, well, let's see. Yeah, Rich, the gum was loaded would not fly these days. Bubble Yum had two flavors in one cube. Well, that was a breakthrough in gum technology. And of course, while we're talking about gum commercials, and not that it's a gum and not that it has anything to do with it, but I have to mention that the Mentos commercials were some of the strangest things ever recorded. Those like late 80s, early 90s Mentos commercials. So there, I said that. The Fresh Maker. Home bought some Punch Elite cigars. Those are nice. I used to smoke quite a few of those. Mentos always explained everything. Well, I don't know. Maybe they did. They confused me. Scott Terry, how you doing, Scott? He's having some 5-year-old Peter Stokeby Luxury Bullseye Flake and a Genod Straight Apple. Boy, isn't that Stokeby LBF good after a couple of years, Scott? I mean, I've got some that's 5 or 6 years old, and it's a completely different blend. It's amazing. Oh, Freshen Up was the gum was loaded. Okay, thank you, Rich B1. So I wasn't thinking of two gums. I was just confused. Santa Catalina Island is the island the gum built? Wasn't that the so many miles across the sea? Santa Catalina is awaiting for. I thought it was the island of romance, romance, romance. I didn't know it was the island the gum built. You're gonna have to explain it, Michael. Yes, Rich, that was one of them. He gets the paint on his suit, so he paints the whole suit. They were very strange commercials. I don't know what was going on, but they apparently sold Mentos. The Fresh Maker. Wrigley Gum built it. Okay. I didn't know that, Michael. Interesting. Oh, yes, Flint Hill. That's right. Mentos always made everything better in the commercials. Yes. Double your pleasure with Double Mint Gum, Big Dave says. Yes. With the Double Mint twins. Yeah, Tim. Yeah. And the Cubs. Yes. Wrigley had quite a bit to do there, Michael. Paul Johnson, how you doing, Paul? Trying the Shelby Foot blend, 2/3 Edward G and 1/3 half and half. He thinks. Sounds good. There's Mushroom Leg. How you doing, Mushroom Leg? Appealing to my German heritage there, huh? That was another good one, Rich. The girl gets parked in and she gets the muscle guys to pick up her car. There was one I'm trying to remember in a shopping mall where the guy winds up posing as a mannequin. I can't remember the premise of that one, but it was another really weird one. Yeah, there were some cars that a couple of strapping guys could easily pick up. I don't know if that's still true, but when I was in high school, I I admit to nothing, but it did happen. I was taking my wife to a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, I believe it was. And we saw mint condition. It looked like it just rolled off the lot. Gremlin. I mean, I haven't seen a Gremlin in a long, long time. And this thing looked brand new. It was 77 Honda Civic. Yep, that would be liftable. VW Bug, certainly. And the Gremlin. That's why I brought it up. Yeah, Fiats as well. Yeah, Rich, my dad owned one of those Gremlins. And I can't remember the car that he got rid of, but it was an older, I think it was a Chevy. And I just loved this car. It was a big old clunker, but it's one of the earliest ones I remember working on with him and stuff, and it just had become part of the family by then, and I was so upset when he traded that in for this Gremlin. I just it just didn't make sense to me. And he did it for a lot of reasons. I mean, that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was when gas prices were skyrocketing and there were gas shortages and stuff, and plus that he was putting more money into the old car than made sense. So yeah, but boy, I hated that Gremlin. The Smooth Piper, how you doing, Peter? Good to see you. Tim said, picked up this kid's little Mazda sports car, put it in front of the Lisbon High School sign, and then went to wrestling practice. Voodoo07, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you tonight. Sorry, Voodoo, no Yingling tonight. Mushroom Leg says it seems like parents and uncles back then had a new car every year. Not in my family, Mushroom Leg. We were not well off by any stretch, so we tended to keep cars until we had to get new ones. Yes, the Pacer. That was a little one, Michael. Indeed. Probably wouldn't look nearly as good, Beowulf, indeed. You put a for sale sign on the windshield, Tim? That is funny. Yeah, some of those AMC. Did they make the Opal? Because that was one of those sort of fishbowl looking cars too. Wow, Tim, that sounds like a couple of small towns there with not much to do. Yeah, it's about right, Rich. Uh, that's yeah. What's that? That's 9 years. Yeah, and we would often buy used cars too. Opel was GM. Gotcha. Michael says old German car company. Make your own fun indeed, Scott. Okay, I stand corrected on the Opel. Armchair Piper says his dad got a new company car every 2 years. That was a '57 Chevy Bel Air. Is that what? So every 2 years he got a 57? That's interesting. I don't know, Poem. I don't know if it was GM or not, but it definitely wasn't AMC. Or GMC. Sorry. GMC? Whoever. So I'll tell you my work story from today because I got to vent this to someone. It drove me nuts. So I'm a manager. I've got people working for me, and I work with other managers, and we have meetings, and people have to present stuff at meetings, and people plan the meetings, you know. So a guy that works for me is responsible for planning this meeting that we're having today. And he asks somebody from someone else's group if they could present something at the meeting, and they say, sure, you know, because that's what you do. You know, that's how you get recognized. That's people know who you are and stuff, and it's good to do that. So they've been working on this for, you know, all week, and the agenda goes out for the meeting, and presenter person's boss sends this like nasty email saying, I did not approve this presentation. You need to check with me before you ask this person to present, and on and on and on. So I just ignored it because my guy's got it. You know, it's not his problem, and he knows that. And so he writes something back, which is, I think he was intentionally trying to be a little funny with it, where he just said, well, you know, I've been talking to him about this all week. He clearly is ready to present it. So, well, this, you know, shot her through the ceiling. And so a nasty email comes to me and my boss saying, please talk to him and tell him that he has to take him off the agenda and stuff. And I was like, well, no, he's your guy, and it's his job to talk to you, and it's your job to talk to him. So I'm not going to tell my guy to tell him what you should be telling him. Which is this stupid, you know, this person got it in their head that somebody had to be wrong here and they were going to point a finger at somebody, and that kind of stuff just drives me crazy. You know, we got a job to do. Let's work on that. Let's not try to make other people look bad while we're doing it. So 66 Corvair caught fire. Wow. Was that a little sports car kind of thing, Scott? I'm trying to remember the Corvair. Aluminum block, says Steve Russell. Stupid is what stupid does indeed. Little economy car? Okay, Rich. Yeah, I hate those. Well, sometimes the meetings are necessary, Mushroom Leg, but I do hate them, and it is a waste of time. You know, and the bottom line is there was no reason this guy couldn't present this stuff. She was just mad that she wasn't consulted first, which really comes down to her. I mean, she's got to coordinate with her people and let them know, if you're going to present something, I want to know before you present it. And that's fine, you know, but don't blame the person that asked. It's not his fault. He just wanted to give the guy an opportunity. Home, I can tell you, if you're on Instagram, you'd see plenty of evidence of how smooth the smooth pepper is. And you should see a St. Patrick's Day. Uh, St. Patrick's Day, I was going to say get up, but that doesn't sound right. Attire. There we go. Sorry, Peter, I'm teasing you a bit. Hey, it's Couch Bender Garcia Rodriguez. How you doing, Couch? Well, that's the thing, Palm. There was nothing wrong with it. She just wasn't consulted first. So she'd rather be right in her mind and deny her report an opportunity to get some face time with higher ups, which is kind of a shame. Yeah. Work ego and micromanaging, two things that do not go together. Not that either one of them is good on its own. And my problem is, I'm a scientist. I've been a scientist my whole life, so I'm a scientist first and a manager second. And I just don't care about the ego stuff. I want to get the right answer, and I want to do the job that we're supposed to be doing. And I really make people angry sometimes. I don't mean to. I'm just being honest and trying to get the job done. But there's people that like to play the politics game and, worry about making sure that we check all the boxes and everything. I had no time for that. So, but I've done okay. I'm never going to be the CEO. I don't want to be the CEO. Leatherback Piper, you can't be late to the party. Smoking a Perdomo 10th anniversary Maduro. Nice. Couch picked up two estate Kamoy Guildhalls, and they both smoke amazingly. So do we have to change your initials now to CCGK or CKC? Maybe we'll just stick with Bender. Hey, Peter Venkman was one of my heroes, Mushroom Lake. No, actually, I liked Egon. I like one of my favorite lines from Ghostbusters was when I forget the situation, but for some reason, I think it was Bill Murray asked Egon, didn't he ever have any toys growing up? And he says, his line is, I had part of a Slinky once. I straightened it. It's just funny on so many levels. Like, why did he only have part of it? And his first instinct was to straighten it. I love that line. Too many big egos indeed, Big Dave. Dry Fly Fisher 11, how you doing, buddy? Don't make Couch one of the letter people. It's a different kind of letter person, Tim. We're just going for initials, but yes, we don't want to do that. Lord Hogarth, how you doing, my friend? Ever try to drill a hole through your head? Have not done that, Flynn. Wow, Scott, that is quite a story. Driving a flaming Corvair with one hand and holding the brother with the other. Probably would have been safer to jump out. Horizontally opposed six-cylinder. Wow. Is horizontally opposed the same as like the Boxer? Texas Piper, how you doing, Eddie? Crazy amount of new tobaccos coming out. I almost bought some some haunted bookshop today. Rich B won. That was Phineas Gage. It wasn't a railroad spike though. It was the tamper that he was using to tamp down the explosives. I don't know if the slinky does end, Michael. It's a good question. Okay, slant 6. Yeah, Couch, we don't want you being one of the alphabet people. But I think you should become one just to troll the rest of them. Yeah, an 8 deco tamper through the brain is probably going to do less damage. That's true. Mushroom Leg is asking what tobacco comes out besides Sun Bear soon. Yes, Phineas Gage. It is a fascinating case, and that's kind of what led to the whole lobotomy craze. I hate to call it a craze, but the rod went up through his orbital and basically severed connections in the frontal region, and all of a sudden he was a nice guy. Ah, yes, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Absolutely. Tony Bennett passed away today. He was in his upper 90s and still performing until quite recently. So, amazing voice that man had. Patrick Grant, how you doing, Patrick? Good to see you tonight. Oh, we're not allowed to talk about the pipe force here, Eddie. Coalhouse and Kopp released a line of Danish aromatics? Huh, that's interesting. Sunbear Tupelo and Missouri Meerschaum and Cornell and Deal just released 3 new blends. Interesting. Tim likes his lobotomy. Good. James Finn, how you doing, Jim? Doing just fine here. It's a good point, Michael. I should probably start demanding my comfort pipe and a safe place to smoke it. Oh, Tim, that's not going to work as an earwig. I've got that in my head most of the time anyway. 2 weeks shy of his 97th birthday, says Patrick Grant. Well, God bless him. Jim Finn is smoking some Dorchester and a Master Casca. Nice. Armchair Piper, how profound, wizard. And Rich B1 following up as well. Yeah, slinkies and hula hoops were kind of fascinating. I never got the hula hoops, but quite frankly, I would still enjoy a slinky today. There's something really hypnotic about them, even if you're just doing them from hand to hand. And of course, when you got them walking downstairs alone or in pairs and making that slinkety sound. No, it's not Tom Waits, Mushroom Leg. It's Tom T-Bone Stenkus from the Existential Blues. Andrew Sirigliano. How you doing, Andrew? Yes, Tim. Slinky, Slinky. It's fun for a girl and a boy. Oh, Poem, that's terrible. Too soon, Poem. Too soon. Yeah, Rich B1, they were a lot of work. So is Tony Bennett the last of that sort of crooner age? I can't think of anyone else that would be in his category. Brian Woodward. That is funny. He says some people are a lot like Slinkies. They're only really fun if you push them down the stairs. Apparently we've got a cruel streak going across the board here tonight. Couch Doug Owen is the guy there. He's not on yet tonight, but I think I've got his address if you need it. Jarts are too dangerous, yeah. Because when we had Jarts out and all the kids were playing with them, the lawns were just littered with corpses, Michael. Ah, Andrew, he would be a great guide, wouldn't he? I know a couple local blue heron that I've been trying to hire for a couple years now. Okay, Couch. Rich B1, Mike got its. Don't know what its is, but I probably do. Yeah, the Slinky's getting a lot of mileage, Mushroom Lake. Wasn't thinking I'd be talking about the Slinky. Ah, okay, gotcha, Rich. Yeah, you got to be pretty dense to stand in front of a lawn dart. I mean, the same thing with regular darts, right? I mean, I've never known anybody to actually get hit by a dart. Somebody's throwing something sharp across the room, you stay out of their way. But people are stupid now. I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I'm really worried because I told this story before, but my wife was in Pittsburgh visiting her parents, and their toilet broke, and it just needed a flapper valve replaced. You could do this in 5 minutes. You go to Home Depot, you buy the new one, you just pop it off, you pop it back on, you hook up the chain, and you're done. Not that kind of crooner, Tim. So she asked her two nephews, who are, one is like 26 and the other one's probably 18, 19 now. They laughed. They said, how are we going to know how to fix a toilet? And, their grandfather's there. He can't do it and he needs help and all that. And I said, when I was that age, if my grandfather needed something, I would have been so proud to be able to help him. But to laugh and to just like how would I possibly know how to do that? I don't know how you couldn't know how to do that. But that's not what set me off the other day. I'm watching TV and this commercial comes on for this new phone app where you can video chat with somebody to help you fix your home appliances. And the commercial is this woman that needs to fix her toilet, and she's holding the phone up so the guy can see inside the toilet tank, and he says, yeah, just reconnect that chain and now it'll work. Like, honestly, I said that's toilet 101, but it's not. I mean, that's, sitting on it and stuff. It's toilet 102, though. So we're living in a world where people don't know how to put the chains back on toilets. That's a problem. I've also finished my haunted bookshop, which is a problem. Because now we have to move on to what's become my favorite part of the Friday nights. I don't know if you're enjoying it as much as I am, but we have to pick the next tobacco. But we'll give it a minute. We'll rest for a minute and let the chat catch up here. Couch's cousin was hit by a lawn dart and his foot had to go to the ER, and Couch didn't throw it. Okay. I guess I'll believe you. Tim never got hurt with lawn darts. Rich B1 is pointing out that we never really got hurt with fireworks, although people are getting hurt with fireworks now, and they're easier to get now. So, I don't know. A slinky was a roll of uncut cylinder rings. That's interesting, Michael. Small town kids are still handy because they have, yeah, small town kids, farm kids. I mean, there's a lot of kids around this area because we still have some farms and stuff that, I'll tell you a story about that. I'll tell you a story about our CSA that I forgot about until just now. But it gets to this point about, sorry to sound old, but kids today. Yeah, I know, Andrew. It would take no time at all to search this on YouTube, and you could probably find the exact model of the toilet and everything, and see some guy taking it to pieces. But no, just laugh about it. Oh, you're kidding, Tim. How to defrost the back window? Oh my goodness. Yep, entertain an idiot with bubble wrap. Sure. Tim's voting for the mystery bag. I haven't shown the choices yet. They probably would, Big Dave, and they probably charge you $20 to do it. Scott Terry switched over to Yorktown. Yeah, that's true, Lord Hogarth. I mean, they do kind of look intimidating, I guess, but they're really very simple systems. So let me tell you about this kid at the CSA. So this girl, she just graduated from high school, and she's her parents own this farm. She grew up there. She's been working on it. You know, I've been going to this for 5 years now, I think, and she's been there every week handing out the stuff, and she's there to answer questions and stuff. And last week, maybe it was 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. I went to pick it up. My wife wasn't with me, and she was the only one there. Yes, Dry Fly Fisher, there are some non-YTPC videos on YouTube. You should take a look. So, oh, good. Jeffrey likes tobacco picking time. I'm glad somebody does. So I go to pick up the CSA, and it's simple now because it used to be you'd go in and there'd be like all these things around. You had to walk around and look at a board and say, okay, I get two of these. And but now because of the COVID thing, they started putting it in bins for you, so everything's all picked out. And now that's just what they're continuing to do. So it makes it a little easier. And let's see, Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy once had a college grad come to work where he didn't know how to use a shovel to gather small parts for the machine. Too much like work? Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, it's a mystery bag. Okay, Tim. So anyway, I go and there's no, I went somewhat early, so there wasn't anybody there yet. The parking lot was empty, and my wife couldn't go with me for whatever reason. And I go and I walk up, and her parents are not there. It's just her, and she just graduated from high school this like a couple weeks ago, and she was just unbelievably kind and considerate. Please, thank you, that kind of stuff. Not to the point where it was overbearing or anything, but I had such a pleasant exchange with her. She made eye contact. She was respectful. I had a couple questions about some of the stuff because you get some stuff you don't necessarily know what to do with, and then she told me about, there's pick your own flowers if you want them, and I said, oh, my wife's allergic, otherwise I would, and we had a laugh about that, and then she told me that they had Kirby cucumbers, which I like to make pickles from, and I said, oh, okay, I'll get some of those, and she made change for me, and it was just, I don't know how to explain it, but dealing with her was nicer than dealing with a lot of adults that I've dealt with recently. And most kids, I'll say, her age, I guess they're not kids anymore once they graduate high school, but most young adults her age that I deal with are nothing like that. Difference from what I'm used to. And I think it's got something to do with the fact that she was raised, had a good education outside of school, from her parents, good work ethic installed, and understands the importance of interacting with people. And it's a shame that we're losing that. I'm sorry to sound like an old man complaining, but it really does worry me. And you combine that with things like we now need a phone app to fix our toilet. We're going down the toilet. Big Dave says only 3 things a plumber has to remember. That stuff flows down hills, paydays on Friday, and never stick your fingers in your mouth. Michael Case is quoting, was that Bye Bye Birdie? Absolutely, Tim. Failure is the key to learning, and you're right. Nobody's allowed to fail anymore. Yes, Poem. I think a lot of us had that experience growing up. Father was always wrong, and then you're impressed by how much he learned. Yeah. All right, let's get to the tobacco choices here. So I'm mixing it up a little bit. So, Tim, we do have the mystery bag. We got 1 vote for the mystery bag already. We've got some, this is called 1022 Modified. This is another blend from my buddy Jim Finn. This is one of his blends. I've only got probably about a bowl's worth in there. I smoked it when he first sent it to me and enjoyed it, but then it got mixed up in with the other stuff, and there it is. I believe this is another Virginia Perique blend. And just to shake things up a bit, I've got a jar of St. Bruno Ready Rub that I opened in December of 22. So, those are your choices. St. Bruno, Mystery Bag, or Jim's Blend. Tim voted 3 times like the people all over California do. So we got 1 for the mystery bag. Patrick wants the mystery bag. Michael wants 1022. Poem wants 1022. So we're tied there. We got 3 for St. Bruno. Tony, Rich, and Andrew. 4 for St. Bruno. 5 for St. Bruno. St. Bruno's taking quite a lead. 6 for I think it's going to be St. Bruno. We'll give it 1. Oh, there we go. That sealed the deal. Armchair Piper, St. Bruno. So we're going to have the St. Bruno. Now this is a lot. I'm probably not going to finish this week, and it's probably not something I'm going to smoke every day. I have had it before. It's not my thing, but it's not bad. So sorry, mystery bag. Jeffrey says mystery bag. That's still behind the St. Bruno, but I'll try to stack the deck next week for the mystery bag. 1022 is from Speakeasy. Okay, Jim, thank you. I thought it was one of your blends. I was confused. It's good stuff either way. So that one might not make it through the week because it's. But by the way, the was it Lancer slices? So the Lancer slices are Fusiliers ration I had a couple bowls worth of. That didn't make it to a reappearance here because I smoked it. Yes, I actually smoked a lot of Kia without being forced to. So we've got the Paul Winslow pipe that my buddy the Durham Duke sold to me a while back, and oh man, I love this pipe. Beautiful, nice, big, thick-walled, sort of happily pot kind of pipe. Danish pipe making at its finest. St. Bruno is I'd call it a light aromatic. Definitely does have a topping. It's a rather dark blend. It's got a fair amount of burley in it. I didn't look it up, so I don't really know what the components are. And we will load some of that up. I don't remember if it's Anisette, Palm. I'll let you know in a minute. Sailor, how you doing, buddy? He's got a 7 Ellie autograph with some John Marr. Super cold Tito's vodka on the side. Very nice. 507 514 Stone Virginia blend, says Jim. Good stuff. Would you call that a billiard, Peter? I'm not sure. It's close enough. I would probably call it a billiard as well, but I think it's a little too appley to be a billiard. A little too rounded at the bottom. But as you well know, I'm embarrassingly bad at identifying pipe shapes. Come on, lid, go back on. There we go. So this was, someone sent me some St. Bruno and some Five Brothers. I got a lot of the St. Bruno in pouches, and it's not something it's very good, but it's not something I can smoke every day. Come on, lighter. There we go. Tamper. Ochoita, how you doing, buddy? Definitely has some Kentucky, he says. Yes, I would agree. Definitely some dark fired in this. Big fan of the added flavoring. Do you know what the flavoring is, Ochoita? All I'm smelling is the dark fired. Never had St. Bruno, Couch? We can fix that. Keep looking for my tamper over there. By the way, I've rearranged things. I hope you like it. I got to tell you more about the sidewalk work, which is why things are rearranged. I don't think it's going to stay like this because it's a little cramped right here. Because my desk is like I can actually reach the desk without bending over now, which is nice for this. But when I'm working, it doesn't give me enough room this way. But I had to move this stuff out of the way so that they could come down the basement and mess up my sump pump. Doing it wrong says he likes St. Bruno flake by a wide margin over the ready rub. Have not had the flake. Doing it wrong. Extremely popular in the UK, says Poem. Yes. Ochoita says some kind of Lakeland topping. Yeah, I can't place it. Tim never had St. Bruno San Martino, he says. Oh, boy. You're taking me back there, Tim. Bruno San Martino and Chief J. Armstrong. It is a bit floral, but I mean, it's not what I think. I'm not a Lakeland guy, as you know. I'm kind of afraid of them. But it's not anything overbearing in terms of the topping. Yeah, it is a very smoky blend, Big Dave. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Andre the Giant. Ed says Lakeland means not interested. That's the way I usually think about it, too. If it is Lakeland, it's definitely not that rosewater geranium kind of Lakeland. It's more on the Tonkin side. and it really is dominated by that dark fired. And thank you, Ochoita. I had forgotten. I would have noticed by now because it's got that dark fired mouthfeel to it. Michael Case had an encounter with Andre the Giant. Very interesting. George the Animal Steel. Yes. Stan the Lariat Hansen. That one's not ringing a bell, Tim. The British Bulldog sounds familiar. Baron von Raschke. Raschke. Tim got threatened by Tony Atlas in character. Well, that must have been fun. My dad was a big fan of wrestling. When I was a kid, that was, Saturday morning cartoons lasted until wrestling came on, and then that was what was on. So I spent a lot of time not enjoying it, to be honest, but watching it because that's what was on the TV. And he loved it. And even, you know, right up until the the the, the time he passed away, he would watch there was like Monday night this wrestling was on, and then I think Tuesday night there was nothing on, but then Wednesday and Thursday he had to be home in time for them. He would record them if he wasn't going to. He was a big fan. Haystacks Calhoun, there you go, Michael. Your friend was chased by Haystacks Calhoun. My goodness. Iron Sheik was another one. Bruiser Brody, I don't remember. Nature Boy Claire, something like that, Patrick. Hulk Hogan grew up in Palm's hometown, and that's really sad. Ric Flair, Abdullah the Butcher. Don't remember that one. Ric Flair was the other Nature Boy. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I said Claire. I was thinking of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Yeah. Rowdy Roddy Piper. Yes. Didn't know we had so many wrestling fans here. Oh, Sirius has a wrestling show? Didn't know that. Trying to decide if I should tell my Andre the Giant story. I can tell my Bruno Sammartino story. That's a funny one. Yes, Tim. We'll have to. One of these 4 Dot Sundays, we'll have to have a, you could do a seminar on pro wrestling. Wrestling's very popular in Mexico. And my dad used to watch something called Loco Luche, something like that. It was Mexican wrestling. And he was really into that. Yeah, I remember the Iron Sheik. Actually, Eric, the Blue Collar Pipe Smoker, is a fan of wrestling, and he posted on Instagram when the Iron Sheik died. I remember that. Patrick Grant says Luco Libre. That's what it was, Rich. Thank you. Patrick says Vince McMahon sold WWE to the folks who own UFC. Interesting. Doing it wrong used to run into Hulk Hogan and the Body at the airport. Gorgeous George, yeah. So I don't know how many of you remember Bruno Sammartino. Bruno was not an attractive man, and let's just leave it at that. That'll become important as I get through the story. So when I lived in Pittsburgh, I had a problem because I share a last name with a very famous quarterback who came from the University of Pittsburgh and played for the Miami Dolphins. So, and he was sort of at his peak during this time. So anywhere that I would go that I had to give my last name, I would inevitably get the question, oh, are you any relation to Dan? And it got to the point where I would just, for fun say, yes, he's a cousin or something like that, because it happened so frequently that it was kind of annoying. So I'm in the bank actually trying to open an account. So you got to sit down at the desk with a woman and do the stuff you have to do to open a bank account. And she says to me, and this is a woman who was probably in her mid to late 40s, looked like a woman that was in her mid to late 40s. Nothing remarkable in either direction, but just an average looking woman. And she says to me, any relation to Dan? And I was still in a relatively kind mode then and wasn't particularly annoyed. So I said, oh, no, it's a common name. And she said, oh, I understand. Yeah. So you must get aggravated when people ask that. And I said, well, yeah, it does happen quite a bit. And she said, I can see why, because you look like him. Now, I don't think I looked anything like him. Other than at the time we both had hair, I guess. I don't think there was very much of a resemblance at all, but she was pretty convinced that I looked like Dan Marino. So, okay. So I just said, yeah, but no relation. And she said, well, I get the same thing all the time. People ask me if I'm related to Bruno Sammartino. And I'm looking at this woman and I'm thinking, you don't really look like Bruno Sammartino. And it turns out it was her last name. But the way the conversation evolved, I just had it in my mind that she was telling me that people thought she looked like Bruno Sammartino. So I sat there for a minute just kind of befuddled. And I said, well, you don't look anything like him. And she looked very shocked, and I think I offended her. And I think she said something like, no, of course not. And then we went on to open my bank account. So anyway, that's my Bruno Sammartino story. Randy Macho Man Savage. He died not too long ago as well, Paul. Yes, how is that acquisition of Texas going there, Sailor? Several local TV stations showing wrestling. Yep. Yeah, Brian, I got to admit, when I would watch it with my dad, I would, you could see that there were things that were fake, but every once in a while, you say, man, that's got to hurt. There was some impressive choreography for sure. Michael Case says many wrestlers and porn stars die of overdoses and gunshot wounds, but not at the same time. So, do the wrestlers die before or after the porn stars, Michael? Yeah, I'm sure I got a low interest rate doing it wrong. Road Warrior Hawk died of a heart attack after he became a Christian. Hopefully, those weren't related to him, but I guess he got lucky, huh? Jim PM, hey, happy Friday, buddy. Got a bowl full of McBaron Symphony and a cold bottle of Founder Brewery's Dirty Bastard Scottish Ale. Sounds nice, Jim. Sounds very nice. And there's Big Country Briar. Hey, Cole, do you know if the West Virginia contingent is heading to Columbus this year? It's been a long time since I had McBaron Symphony, but it was a nice blend. I mean, it still had that McBaron topping on it. I'm reacting to Poem's message here to Jim PM. Uh, it still had that McBaron topping on it, which I don't like, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other McBaron blends, and it was a nice blend. I got to go buy some cigars tomorrow. My buddy Eric S. put me on to these Aroma de Cuba. Uh, crud. I can't remember the name now. It begins with a P. Couch, you were there. Help me out. Um, anyway, I don't know if it's new or not, but it's a blend from Pepin Garcia, and he worked with his son on it, so it's a collaboration between those two. And it apparently just uses tobaccos that were grown on their estate, and they're all shade grown. So sounds like a uh, really interesting cigar. So gonna see if I can get some of those at the local shop tomorrow. I'm thinking about it, Ed. I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Columbus or Vegas this year. I want to do one. Okay, Cole. Are you going to go? Tim said the Road Warriors Legion of Doom are the only tag team to hold tag titles in all three major wrestling leagues. Fascinating. Don't think I've ever had Baccarati cigars there, Poem. I've had some sweetened cigars, which were okay. Ah, Couch is out walking Ilva. Tell Ilva I said hello. Yes, creator, it's passion or passion or something like that. Yes. We got it, Couch. Thank you. Oh, Paul, are you going to be at Vegas? That would be great. Oh, Jim, you should definitely go if it's close by. I think it's free admission, and it's worth it just to hang out and smoke some pipes. You're going to be there, Cole? Ilva is the greatest dog ever, Rich. Absolutely. Just don't tell my dogs I said that. Yes, Cole, we gotta take Odie back to the German restaurant and see if we can get a need for him. Oh, that was funny. That was really, really funny. So we went out to this German restaurant with it was Cole and Brian Doran and I forget who else was there and Odie with WKR with WKR Piper I think was I haven't seen him in a long time. Hope he's doing well. And he wanted a hamburger and the waitress told him that it was cheaper to order. So I think he wanted, I forget how this worked, but he wanted like a double cheeseburger, and the waitress told him that if he ordered the kids' burgers, they were the same size, and he'd get four of them for the price of the one double cheeseburger. And for whatever reason, he said yes. And I just don't think he was expecting the volume of food that he got because he wound up getting four meals. It was really funny. Uh, he did his best, but Poem, don't tell me about that because I won't go either. Yeah, Rich, that's Thatcher trying to drink from the beer bottle when she was just a puppy. Can't believe they just turned 10 years old. Cody, yes, it was Smoking Fireman, of course, Big Country Briar, of course. That was a good time. Schmidt's was the restaurant. Yeah, sausage soup. Okay. White Ash Piper, how you doing, buddy? Tim can never forgive the Colon family until they admit what happened. Tim, I don't know. I'm sorry, I lost track of the conversation. I think you're still talking about some wrestling stuff. Ah, YPTC, YTPC. We translate White Ash, it's fine. Yeah, maybe it's because this sat in the jar for a while, but I'm enjoying this St. Bruno's a lot more than I did originally. It does have pretty strong presence of that dark fired Kentucky, which is not my favorite thing, but It's not as bad as something like Old Dark Fire. The topping is gone, and there's what seems to be some burley riding underneath that. It's got a really nice, creamy mouthfeel, lots of smoke. It's good stuff. Oh, it's Bruiser Brody's Murder. Okay, I got you, Tim. Yeah, I think flying is mostly safe, Paul, but, you know, always that one. Stephen Skip, how you doing? Good to see you tonight. Love you all right back. Something's making a clicking noise here. I'm hitting something. Excuse me. Usually when something like that happens, something's about to fall. Big Otis does a worm that is awesome, says Cole. Okay. And Antico is very tasty with yard work, according to White Ash Piper. Well, howdy to Texas from all of us, Step. You enjoy the game. Thanks for jumping in. It's good to see you. So, folks, it's 20 after, but I think we might actually, I hate to do this to you, but I might have to tie up a little bit early tonight. This rarely happens, but the gin and tonic is going right through me tonight. I could put you back to the pipes and then come back if you want, or I can say goodnight early. What do you want? You want an intermission, or you want to end it here? I'll tell you what, we got 10 minutes left. It'll be a short intermission, and I will be right back. Well, that was a relief. Sorry about that. Never happened before. Well, it happened during that auction that I did. That went really long. That was a couple hours. But you older guys understand. When we're talking about underrated tobaccos, you know, I could really just put the pipes on and let you guys talk. You'd probably have more fun spitting out the same. I was not spitting out the same Bruno. Yeah, old dudes have small bladders. I shouldn't have scrolled back. No, I'm honestly enjoying the same Bruno. I'm surprised. I probably will have this during the week. Thank you, Poem. I appreciate that. Jim PM, I guess that's what I got to look forward to in 4 or 5 years, huh? Amen to that, Cole. He says, any guys live close enough to drive to Columbus but apprehensive, don't give it another thought, load up and come on in. Yeah, I got to tell you, I was apprehensive. I really was, and I'm not the kind of guy that walks into a room full of people I don't know and starts chatting with someone. I'm very introverted, honestly. I am, and I was so apprehensive about going out to that smoking tent area because I just kind of looked out and I didn't recognize anybody. I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, and then I'm probably gonna leave. And so I got my pipes and stuff, and I go walking out there, and I just stepped through the door, and it was actually Donnie, Hillbilly Piper, I think, or it might have been St. David. I can't remember which of those two guys it was, but one of them stood up from a table and said, "Hey, CaneRod," and it was wonderful, you know. And I sat down with it was the two of them were there, and I sat down with the two of them, and it was like we were, you know, lifelong friends, and it just felt comfortable from that moment on. And then I met Cole and Cody and Brian. I'd met those guys before at the Boswell's meetups. It was great to see them. It was a wonderful time, and I'm really hoping that I can get back this year. I can't do both Columbus and Vegas, especially since I got to put in this darn sidewalk. Thank you, Michael Case. Appreciate that. So we're still doing underrated blend. I saw somebody mention the Low Country Virginia Burley, which is a fantastic blend. I hate talking about it because it's so cheap, and I'm afraid that we're going to create a run on it, and then it's going to be hard to get. But I don't I don't smoke enough unusual like new stuff and all that to say. Rich B1's gonna do his camel impression. I love that, Rich. Well, Jim, you definitely should go then. You won't become an extrovert, but you'll be welcome. I'll tell you another blend that I really found surprising, and this was a long time ago, so I have no idea if this is still even available. Uh, but Cornell and Deal used to put out a red Virginia ribbon that was actually a blending tobacco, and it was quite cheap. That stuff was really good. If you like red, like fermented Virginias, which are the only Virginias I really like, it was remarkably good mixed with a little bit of Perique. And I just remembered I've got some of that jarred up that's got to be getting close to 10 years old. I think I'm going to need to open that soon. You're like that too, Michael? Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tim. I'll look forward to reading up on that. It sounds like a really interesting story. Holmes says there was a YTPC video about the Vegas pipe show that stated the rules of the hotel. Worth watching. No Mary Jane? Well, as long as it's not no Mary Ann, right? Printer is fantastic stuff, Ochoeda. Ah, so you're smoking the Red Virginia ribbon now, Michael. Okay, so you know what I mean then. It's really, is it still cheap? Because it was like dirt cheap back then. Yes, Ed, Marianne, yes. So I did it on purpose, Ed. I was trying to get you activated. Oh, I see, poem. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Tim. My my translators, my uh, brain isn't working right now. Too much gin and tonic. My pop culture translators have kicked in. There we go. Flint Hill's got some of that Red Virginia. It's good stuff. Very good stuff. What tins average these days? Depends on the tin, I guess, but somewhere between 10 and 20 bucks. Yeah, Cole, that I got to say hello to RC, and I think his grandson was there who's carving pipes now too. That was pretty cool. It's really sad that he passed away. So I had a tin of Shanae's cake, which I've actually never had. Every time I go to buy tobacco, I think about buying Shanae's cake. I don't need any tobacco though. But I had a tin of that in my shopping cart. I got the 15% off pipes and cigars site-wide sale flyer this morning. And I immediately, knee-jerk reaction, go and get Haunted Bookshop in the cart. And so I had 2 pounds of Haunted Bookshop, and I was looking at the Shanae's cake, and I thought to myself, wait a minute, you dummy, you just found 4 pounds of Haunted Bookshop. Do you really need to buy more of it right now? And so I decided not to pull the trigger on that one. Because I'm smoking this stuff now to try to get rid of it. Then I'll buy the Haunted Bookshop. So anyway, I didn't buy the Shanae's cake, but the reason I'm bringing that up is I think it was $11 for the, what is it, 2.5 ounce tin, something like that. Yeah, Ed, I've seen a lot of good stuff. Jim PM says it too. A lot of good stuff about Shanae's cake. I just never got around to trying it. And I have to, you know. Well, Poem, I don't know if I'd worry about that. First off, it would be methanol. And I don't think you're going to get that just from burning the wood. You'd have to distill it, and yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, you got as much chance of getting methanol from your pipe as you would from tobacco that's aged in an oak. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that, Paul. 3-year-old haunted bookshop sounds nice, Tim. Oh, you used the damn paper towel trick, huh? I'm glad it worked for you, Whiteash. You haven't tried it either, Peter? Rich, I've tried using alcohol in the Zippos. It doesn't burn as well. It doesn't It's harder to light. It's harder to see the flame, which is a real problem, especially when you got a large flame on your Zippo. Um, and it evaporates more quickly. So I didn't see any point to it. But it works in a pinch. And what I do sometimes is if I've got the Zippo down here and it runs out and I don't want to walk upstairs to refill it because I've got my Zippo fluid upstairs. I used to keep 2 tins, but I just haven't bought a second one in a while. I have a little squirt bottle of isopropanol that I use when I'm cleaning pipes and stuff. Actually, I got it. It's not. I'm sorry. It's denatured alcohol um, that I use for like thinning the shellac or stains, things like that. And I'll just squirt a little bit of that, and not a lot, just a couple of drops into the Zippo. And I think what that does is it mixes with the remaining fuel and gives you probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 more lights. But it's not worth it. It's just if you're in that situation and you got the denatured alcohol in front of you. Group review. Should we do a tin opening with Shanae's? See if we can get enough people interested. Michael, you got the huge flame too. Do you know how you got it? Because I honestly do not know how it happened, and I can't get rid of it now. That's actually the smallest that I can get it. Pulled it up to the top and cut it off, so it was all the way up at the top. But you can see I got that pretty well centered now, and it still lights like that. Doctored with methanol. Usually something else now, but in the early days it was doctored with methanol to prevent people from drinking it. And there's actually a really interesting story about this with prohibition in the US where they were putting methanol into the denatured alcohol. People were still drinking it. They were getting blind and or dead from it. And it wasn't people were still drinking, so the government increased the percentage of methanol in it, which led to more deaths. And I think it was something like 100,000 or more people died from this, and it's because the U.S. government poisoned the people. It's really a strange story if you think about it. So Big Country Bar says put 10 pounds of Haunted Bookshop in cellar a few years ago. I'm putting a post-it note on it with Mike's address to send it to him if I don't get around to it. Be careful, Cole. That makes me think evil thoughts. Tony's got some Shanae's cake aging. Good stuff. I've trimmed the wick, Sailor. It still is big. I think it's haunted. Tim does enjoy a tin opening. Okay. Jim needs his disease encouraged. Realize it happened back then? Yeah, Shanae cake is definitely a vapor. I think it's pretty heavy on the Perique. Shanae was the guy that he didn't invent Perique, but he kind of brought it to the pipe smoking world. Haunted Zippo for Haunted Bookshop. Good way to think about it there, Michael. Iron Mike Malloy. Yes, Flint Hill. That's a great story. That is a fantastic story. Uh, Wells took out an insurance policy on him and then tried to kill him. And it's hilarious how many times they tried to kill this poor guy and it just didn't work. And most of it was involving him drinking massive amounts of methanol that he was apparently immune to. So it's a it's a great story. Thank you for bringing that up, Flint Hill. And by the way, I'll give a plug for something here. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but there's a YouTube channel. I think it's called, the show is called Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. Now, Jimmy Akin is a Catholic apologist, and he definitely has a very strong Catholic point of view on things. So, I'll tell you that up front as a warning if you don't like that sort of thing. But he goes into things like this story about Iron Mike Malloy, or he'll talk about like Roswell or Bigfoot sightings or vampires or all sorts of odd things. It's almost like an Art Bell type experience. But he really digs into it, and he does it in a very careful, logical, factual manner. He's a smart guy. He's a really smart guy. And then if it's something religious, like if it's something like a miracle that's supposed to happen or an apparition or something like that, he'll also give a faith perspective on it. So it's an interesting show. Ah, that's where you heard it, Flint Hill. Yeah, it's a podcast as well. Yes, but I like watching his YouTube channel. I knew about Jimmy Akin from back in, oh God, forever ago, because he's one of us. Yes, Rasputin couldn't be killed either. The longest hide and seek game. Guinness Book of World Record for Bigfoot. Good for him. Well, anyway, folks, we've obviously run over by quite a bit, but that makes up for my need to run away for a bit. So thank you for hanging out with me and for bearing with me on that. We shall finish up the gin and tonic, which was quite pleasant. And we will bring this to a close. So again, thank you all for joining me. I really enjoyed the chat. It's always the high point of the week for me. I'll be back on Sunday with another Sunday chat of some sort or the other. God only knows what I'll be talking about. And we'll be back next week with more of whatever the heck this is. I'm guessing we'll talk about Marianne and Ginger and probably not wrestling next week, but who knows? So guys, take care. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you all real soon.